The first update we have today is about some really extreme cyberbullying aimed at Tamra Judge. So Tamra Judge, she shared this absolutely shocking direct message she got. Someone literally told her to kill herself. It's pretty intense stuff, and it's definitely sparked a lot of talk about online harassment. Tamra put it out there saying, telling someone to end their life like that, it should be illegal. Apparently, the message said they really hoped Tamra would have considerations of killing yourself. They called her an embarrassment and said she'd ruin the show with your toxicity, even claiming her friends hate her. Now, this kind of backlash isn't totally out of the blue. Fans have been pretty critical recently, especially about how she handled things with Shannon Bedore, after Shannon's DUI, and then talking about Shannon's father's alleged drinking problems. Tamra's response to this message was clear. These kinds of messages are never okay. She reminded everyone that, hey, it's a reality show, it's supposed to be entertainment, and being on TV doesn't make me less human. But here's where it gets even more complicated. Tamra also shared a post from an organization, All Health Network Harmony Recovery. They said they were appalled because it looked like the person who sent the awful message was somehow connected to them. This recovery group publicly condemned the message, saying there's absolutely no excuse for telling someone to harm themselves. They stressed that their work is all about compassion and empathy. They've confirmed they're taking it extremely seriously and looking into it based on their own values and policies. Before we get into the next update, please make sure you've liked this video and subscribed to this channel. Okay then, let's move on to the next update now.
Next, we are going to talk about Erika Jayne's recent comments regarding her life rebuild, the drama on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and her take on women supporting other women. So, Erika Jayne's been super open about navigating, what she calls the worst part of her life on TV, especially after that whole 2020 divorce from Tom Girardi and, his conviction for embezzling millions. She's really trying to rebuild her foundation. Now, she went on No BS Convos with Colette and kind of pushed back on the idea that she's just playing a character on RHOBH. She admitted that, sometimes ugly sides of her actual personality have definitely surfaced while she's just trying to get through it all. And she clarified she is working hard to rebuild, securing jobs, landing that Las Vegas residency. But she feels like sometimes people are actively trying to tear it down or just keep digging at you, which kind of leads into her calling BS on certain women, right? Those who she feels don't support other women's success or just aren't willing to be happy for them. She made that point like there is enough food at the table for all of us. And interestingly, this all comes just as we're hearing buzz about her upcoming feud with co-star Dorrit Kemsley in RHOBH Season 15. Erika ramped it up by saying that women really cheering each other on can be kind of rare, even mentioning that some people in her own circle and on the show haven't exactly been the most kind while she's trying to piece her life back together. So this was today's update about Erika Jayne's reflections on rebuilding her life and the challenges of female support. Let's now move on to next update.
Okay, next we are going to talk about the latest drama involving Alexis Bellino, Shannon Bedore, and some pretty revealing receipts. So Alexis Bellino, who, is now engaged to Shannon Bedore's ex, John Jansen, she went on Carlos King's Reality with the King podcast, and she was ready to tackle some reunion claims and, honestly, bring proof. Remember, this whole thing kind of blew up because Alexis started dating John, and he's actually suing Shannon for $75,000. Right away, Alexis spilled the tea. She backed up Tamra Judge's claim from the reunion, saying, Shannon absolutely talked smack about Vicki Gunvalson. Alexis says she has the receipts, like proof of what was said, that showed Tamra was telling the truth. Now, when Carlos asked how she got this proof, Alexis basically suggested it came straight from John Jansen, saying, because he's my husband, which, wow, that really illuminates how things might be going down behind the scenes. Then Alexis also tackled the stuff with Jen Pedranti. Jen had hinted at the reunion that Alexis uninvited her from the wedding because she heard Jen and Shannon were talking. Alexis was like, nope, that's not it. She claims she's got the text chain, proving the real reason was Jen kind of ghosted her for 3 solid weeks, just no response to calls or texts. But Alexis did say they've since worked past it, and Jen even congratulated her on the wedding day. So this was today's update about Alexis Bellino's explosive claims regarding Shannon Bedore and Vicki Gunvalson. Let's now move on to next up.
Okay, next we are going to talk about the escalating legal and financial mess going on between Denise Richards and her estranged husband, Aaron Phypers. So get this. Just weeks after Denise got that 5-year permanent restraining order against Aaron Phypers, he's hit back with this really desperate legal filing. He's asking for a whopping $150,000 a month from her. Aaron, who's 53, claims he is completely out of money and financially desperate. Apparently, he hasn't had any income since late 2024 because his wellness company, Quantum 360 Club, it just closed its doors. And it sounds pretty serious. He's actually facing eviction from his place in Calabasas, says he owes $120,000 in back rent. His utilities, water, power, gas, they're already disconnected. He points out that since Denise's name is on the lease, well, she should be ordered to pay her portion of this debt. He also shared that he and his parents who live with him face the danger of becoming homeless. So why the $150,000 a month? Aaron says he requires that much just to cover his expenses and, quote, live safely like a normal person, plus, an extra $10,000 for his divorce lawyer. And here's the kicker. He argues he deserves a piece of Denise's income, partly because he apparently helped make her OnlyFans account sexier. He also mentioned that when Denise moved out her stuff back in September, she left behind 15 dogs and a lot of her things. Now remember that restraining order? That really complicates things for him. During that hearing, Aaron was specifically ordered not to post or give any texts or photos to the media, and he has to delete any he still has. Crucially, this permanent restraining order now really puts Aaron's immigration status in jeopardy. He's at risk of deportation, and it could seriously impact his right to get any spousal support at all. So this was today's update about Aaron Phypers' pretty wild financial requests and all these legal complications tied up with the restraining order. Let's now move on to the next update. Next, we are going to talk about Wife Swap's Caley Svensson, detailing her past drama with RHONJ's Joe Gorga. Okay, so you might remember Caley Svensson, right? She swapped lives with Emily Simpson on Wife Swap. Well, she recently clarified the whole story behind this feud she had back in 2020 with Joe Gorga from Real Housewives of New Jersey. And it was all tangled up with his house flipping business. See, what happened was Joe posted these before and after photos, to promote his company. But Caley came out saying, hang on a minute, that after photo, that's actually my house. And she made it clear he didn't build it or flip it. She even called it, quote, kind of like a little scamish. So Caley initially just asked him, hey, could you please take that picture down? But apparently he didn't, and that's when the situation kind of exploded. It got serious enough that Caley contacted her own builder's lawyer and was actually thinking about taking legal action. Well, the pressure must have worked because the picture did eventually come down, and Joe Gorga had to admit that the house he claimed he'd flipped, it wasn't hers. And just so you know, Caley really knows that area well. She mentioned she grew up right there in Franklin Lakes for over 20 years near the Gorgas, and she still lives only about 20 minutes away now in Bergen County. But okay, switching gears, Caley also spilled some tea about her time on Wife Swap, mentioning something kind of surprising that never actually aired. It was some advice she and Shane Simpson got from Shane's own parents about, marriage and getting close. They told Shane something like, hey, if you want Caley to be more physically affectionate, maybe you should pick up a dish towel first, help her dry the dishes. Then you can snuggle up together on the couch. Kind of simple wisdom, right? Teamwork leads to snuggles. So this was today's update about Caley Svensson's past with Joe Gorga. Let's now move on to next update.
Next, we're going to talk about the latest drama surrounding the Vanderpump Rules Season 12 trailer and why fans think a major star was kinda shaded. So, the sneak peek for the upcoming 12th season just dropped. It premieres Tuesday, December 2nd, by the way. And fans are already buzzing because it looks like someone, key, might have been deliberately left out. Okay, so here's the deal. TikTok user Tori Lee was one of the first to point this out. The trailer opens with this montage, right? Featuring iconic quotes from stars past and present. We heard from Stassi Schroeder, Kristen Doty, Brittany Cartwright, Lala Kent, Ariana Madix, plus a whole monologue from Lisa Vanderpump herself. But guess who was missing? Scheana, Shay. Totally absent. Now, some people pointed out Katie Maloney and the guys weren't in that specific montage either. But come on, most viewers immediately thought, okay, this has to be about Scheana's big public feud with Lisa. Scheana hasn't been quiet lately. She's accused Lisa, her former boss, of basically using her real-life pain. Remember that whole thing with Eddie Cibrian and the Brandi Glanville confrontation on Real Housewives? Scheana says Lisa used that to launch her TV empire, and she claims Lisa gaslit her about it for like a decade, instead of just dealing with it.
Scheana's perspective is that Lisa doesn't just make mistakes, she makes calculated moves and calls them coincidences. Plus, Scheana's been really open saying Lisa is no real friend and only calls when she needs something. Apparently, hearing from Lisa evokes this trauma response in Scheana because it's always about what Scheana did wrong or what she could do for Lisa. So yeah, fans see this trailer snub as pretty intentional. So this was today's update about Scheana Shay being excluded from the Vanderpump Rules Season 12 trailer. Let's now move on to next update.
Next, we are going to talk about JT Thomas's reason for leaving the US. So you might have heard JT Thomas recently sold everything, like everything, and moved all the way to Bali, Indonesia. Yeah, he said it was because the United States was, quote, imploding. Well, that didn't go over smoothly. He got a bunch of hate messages, right? People arguing things were fine because, the stock market's at an all-time high. So JT jumped on Instagram, made a video on November 7th to kind of set the record straight. He clarified that, yeah, sure, things like the cost of living are issues, but his main focus? It's a really sensitive topic. How certain people are being treated inside the US. He specifically pointed out that he agrees with the Pope that all humans, immigrants included, deserve humane treatment. And then he illuminates his concern, describing these dozens of videos he's watched, showing illegal immigrants being tackled, zip-tied, sometimes women pulled right out of work or their apartments, even their cars, in front of their kids, by masked men. He says this just completely violates the standard he grew up with, that whole innocent until proven guilty thing. He called it, and this is his word, absolutely diabolical, saying people are being treated like animals. And that, he concludes, is why he's now looking out at the Indian Ocean in Bali.